these three brain states are brought together by the nerve, the vagus nerve, in terms of the reptilian brain travelling down the spine. Vagus is from the Latin vagabond or vagrant. It means to wander, because the vagus nerve wanders down your spine. In the primate brain, a few 100 million years of evolution later, it enters the heart and lungs. So you can be very aggressive, fight for your territory. When you come to the civilized brain, which is known as rest and digest, the vagus nerve branches off into the digestive organs and lots of the other major organs of the body as well, which is why I call it this super highway. So when you understand all that, you want to increase your vagal tone. When you are stuck in reptilian brain freeze, your vagal tone is low because you can't escape. You feel you're unable to change state. That's why you have anxiety and depression, because you're stuck in that low CO2, low O2, high inflammation state chronically, not intermittently. So the thing that ties all of this together is the vagus nerve. It goes into all of these three states. So it makes sense to improve your vagal tone. And there are half a dozen ways of achieving that. The number one primary tool is your breath. Because your breath can get you into reptilian state by over-breathing, by being anxious. It can get you into primate by injecting adrenaline and fighting or running away. Your breath can get you into flight to safety, feeling calm, by tapping into the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the breath is the key to all three. And this is why the mum part and the moo part is so important. And martial artists who miss them out completely because they want to kick and punch are missing over half of the story. And a story that will become more important as they age. A hormetic stressor is something that you enter into voluntarily, as they did the sign over it. You go through a potentially life-threatening event, like a breath hold, and you come out the other side because it's an intermittent stressor, and that makes you stronger. I think was it the philosopher Nietzsche who said, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," right? And that is a very stark version of hormetic stressor. The obvious one is, of course, cold exposure. It is that much of a drug, right? I cannot have a shower without finishing with a minute or two cold exposure, okay? Because afterwards the feeling is great. And of course it then desensitizes you, it conditions you to the cold as well. So if there's 6 inches of snow, I'm thinking, the children are thinking, let's get gloves and hats and stuff on and throw snowballs, and I'm thinking, right, I want to be barefoot, I want no top on, and I want to be training in the snow.
Can we do post a video or do a netball and snow?
Yeah, like 5 years, whatever it was ago.
No, I see.
That is a hormetic stressor, because you don't feel cold, you feel warm. Because obviously adrenaline reduces your perception of pain, so you don't feel the pain. That's why it gives you this injection before you go into the cold, the anticipation, and then you don't feel it.
And that's brought out as well by when we're doing free fighting or you're taking a grading,
Yeah.
and you get a few knocks and a few whacks and you don't feel it.
Yes.
And then the next day when you get up.
Yeah, Rachel.
I just remember reading that the people who do regular cold water swimming, that their bodies get so attuned to it that they actually become pyrexia, they have a high temperature walking up to the cold water. So their body actually raises their body temperature prior to getting into the freezing cold water.
Yeah.
Because their bodies are that attuned to it.
Yeah. That reminds me as well of increasing brown fat.
Oh, sorry?
Increasing brown fat. So we all have white fat under your skin, which is pretty useless. But then you have brown fat, and generally it's around the chest area, so you fall into a freezing lake and you don't have a heart attack because the brown fat is very metabolically active and it heats up very quickly. And it's not awful long since it was discovered. They knew it was in babies. Babies have it because they don't have the muscles to shiver, whereas we do. So that is our mechanism for warming up, is to shiver. And so they thought once a baby gets to a certain stage, you lose that ability to use the mitochondria and the brown fat to heat your body. But now they say no. You can now actually turn white fat into brown fat through continued cold exposure, which is very similar to what you're saying, Rachel, that you're heating up because you have more mitochondria, you have more brown fat, your metabolism is higher. So that's an interesting thing too. And that's what cold showers will give you. It will give you an increased percentage of brown fat. Okay. So, anything else on chemistry? So you can, essentially, what I'm saying is, if you want to get out of freeze reptilian brain, if you're anxious or depressed, you can talk all you want. If you don't change your blood chemistry, you're stuck. You have to change. And that is, of course, what the medical profession do. They give you serotonin, dopamine to elevate your mood. Same with Parkinson's. They have dopamine agonists because their dopamine receptors have been destroyed. So you need to change your blood chemistry. And he was saying about the martial artist who can channel aggression and be a thinking person at the same time. That takes a lot of practice because you're almost half parasympathetic, half sympathetic at the same time.
Because the whole reason we train and repeat when you do emotion stuff, where they say it just becomes second nature and you don't think about it.
Yeah. Instinctive,
yeah.
Flow state. This is what being in command of these three brains will do for you.
And then having the ability to switch back straight away.
Yeah, don't dwell, don't be stuck in sympathetic or reptilian. And I have found all of the Munpal has exercises, connections to the vagus nerve. We are only on the first exercise, but all of the others have different ways of accessing the vagus nerve. Because as I said at the beginning, it's a superhighway. It affects your digestion, it affects your major organs, it affects your heart, your lungs, your spine, your brain. So it's a super important thing. And if you the Hoshin-So example shows once again how the vagus nerve can control how you react in that circumstance. That's how important it is, but lots of times all of this stuff is missed because people just want to kick and punch. But this applies every day of your life. Right? The spider, driving along in the car, something happens. You're going to change from one state to another, but you have to do it efficiently.
So, I've noted people having two efficient vagus nerves. So football players running around and then they suddenly get caught up the pitch.
Right.
And they go from being very sympathetic to being the vagus nerve just suddenly activating, dropping the blood pressure, dropping the heart rate.
Yeah.
What do you think happens then?
Yeah.
They don't run down properly.
Yeah.
Blackout.
Absolutely. Yes.
If your vagus nerve is too sensitive and you go from being very, very stimulated to not, your blood pressure can drop so much that you actually got blackout.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that very reason, when we do meditation, you know that before we stand, we go into child's pose, we raise up, we do the bicycle with the calf muscle to pump the blood back to the heart and the brain. And we stay there for a while with the head lower than the heart. And then you walk back slowly onto your knees and you rise 1/3, real slow, real slow. You get up from meditation, you could just go straight back down again, because our meditation as we do it now is so deep that your blood pressure could easily be rock bottom, your heart rate down to the, I've seen my heart go down to 48 doing meditation from 90. So you need to bring it back up. When you do your hormetic stressor, you activate the vagus nerve. When you have your cold shower, the vagus nerve is activated. So when you come out of the cold shower, the research I have read shows your dopamine is 300% higher than base. And that lasts 3 to 4 hours after the shower. That is huge. Massive increase. I don't know what the increase in dopamine is from drugs. I mean, like crystal meth is like 1000% dopamine, right? So you get addicted real quick. But if you have a drug for Parkinson's or depression or whatever, I don't know how much that increases your serotonin and dopamine more than your base rate. Is there any evidence of that?
I think the idea would be to try and bring it back from low levels
It would be,
to normal, rather than from normal to...
Yeah, right, okay. And that's chronic. That's the reason why we want it back to normal. We are talking about intermittent hormetic stresses, so that cold shower, 15 seconds, maybe 45, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, you become less sensitive to it. Okay? But that is giving you a 300% increase in dopamine immediately you walk out of the cold shower. And it will last 3 to... Imagine you have 2 cold showers a day. You're away with it. Right? That's your reward system. Your serotonin increases, your endorphins. And that's why I tell myself to have a shower and be a normal person and just leave the hot water on. Right, and I get 1 foot out with it. No. Because I've got that drug. Okay. So hormetic stresses are super important for martial art. Training in the barefoot in the snow. Can you go into, when I lived in Cyprus, it would be 100 degrees. The Greeks would be in a darkened room, I would be training outside. It's a hormetic stressor. Now I have to go into a sauna to get the same effect. But because I can do that, my body is less sensitive now to heat, as it is less sensitive to cold. So obviously my resilience has been improved, whatever extremes. If you're straight down the middle, right, and you all know people that as soon as it gets to 0 degrees, it's like get the heating on, blast into back. So everyone wants the same, wants to be comfortable, right? 21 degrees all the time. If you go outside, it's so cold, get it all your, so you're never challenging your body or your brain by being comfortable. The point of a hormetic stressor is to take you out of your comfort zone. And Medball 13 does the same. That's a hormetic stressor. Either because you have the anticipation, I've got to do this in 13 minutes, right, okay, come on, let's do it, let's go. You're already full of adrenaline before you start. And if you have an injury, then all of a sudden you can't complete that task. So I knew with my ankle I wouldn't be able to do burpees, reverse burpees, jumping up, skater lunge, jumping to the sides. So before I could walk forwards, I was stepping sideways because I wanted that back. That was one of my main objectives. So I trained myself to build the exercises I couldn't do step by step until I could do the whole Vagal 13. And then afterwards you think, wow, that was hard, but I did it. Yeah. So another example, if you have a shoulder injury and you then think, right, this shoulder press, definitely out. So you start just doing the one-arm draw with a light weight. If your med ball is 8, you start with 4. And you just do the one-arm draw. Maybe 3-4 weeks until there is no pain. And then you do the one-arm draw and the press to your shoulder, put it down. 3-4 weeks later, there's no pain. So then you think, yeah, it's a little bit, it's not quite used to that. 3-4 weeks, yeah, I can do it. But you've broken it down into smaller chunks until you can then achieve that task. So stresses are really important. So,
that's that all comes back to the mind.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the mind.
But that's where the good chemistry comes from. A lot of the time from your brainstem and different, which are the bits that you using for, well, adrenal glands for adrenaline, presumably. Hypothalamus, yeah. And so that's 2. Hormetic stresses and breath work will improve your vagal tone, improve your resilience. I like the word anti-fragile. Makes you anti-fragile. Excuse me. The third one is primal movements. If you can come down to the ground and feel, we don't have time to do it today, so we'll do it next time. If you can come down to the ground, give me a prior warning now. Come down to the ground.
Look on your.
Yeah,
Oh,
get into
this is
reptilian mode, walk like a lizard, move like a primate. We've covered 2 of the brains already. You're already into civilized brain. So you are now combining all of those 3 brain states together with movement, not through meditation or hormetic stressor, but through free flowing movement. Okay? And it's to get into that instinctive flow state where nothing is rehearsed, you just move, you just be, you just do. And that is a wonderful feeling, just to be able to move around the floor, doing different things, imitating a reptile or a primate or whatever, a big crab maybe as well, that's a good one. But flowing from one into the other. Okay, so that's a little warning then about next time. So, and you can, if you go onto my YouTube channel, just put my name in the search, and my channel comes up. You'll see lizard walks and things like that on there, going way back.
Right. Sound. Yeah.
Try Sabin. Kenya.
1, 2, 3.